people also by innate desire to happy life. And I think from the king or queen or president up to beggar, all have same right to have happy life.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to commence today's event, so please do take your seats. Welcome to the Canberra Convention Centre, and welcome to this very special conversation with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. My name is Virginia Hausiger. I'm from ABC TV News here in Canberra. I first met and interviewed the Dalai Lama 15 years ago, and it will come as no surprise to many of you who follow his teachings. That first meeting for me led to a great deal of discovery and my own meditation practice. And today it's a tremendous honour to be here in front of you and to be interviewing and emceeing this event with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Now, Canberra, of course, as all of you know who are locals, Canberra is, of course, the most important city in Australia, being the political and the intellectual capital. As many... a very important intellectual capital. As many of you may be aware, the Dalai Lama has been at Parliament House today for a series of meetings. And so our event, our conversation today will be a little shorter than others. The Dalai Lama will begin with an address, and that will be followed by a period of questions, 20 or 30 minutes, depending on how long we've got. A number of you have emailed in questions. I do have those, and where possible I will be calling on the audience members to participate by asking His Holiness a question. I also would like to acknowledge that we are meeting today on Ngunnawal land, and I pay my respects to all elders past and present. March the 17th, for all of you in the audience who are Irish would know, is a very special day. It is, of course, St. Patrick's Day. Coincidentally, March the 17th is also the day back in 1959 when His Holiness fled Lhasa. Luca Bloom is an Irish singer-songwriter with a deep empathy for those who live in exile. The Irish know a great deal about that. Luca has been invited to fly out from Dublin to join the Dalai Lama's tour here in Australia to perform a song that he's written in honour of His Holiness. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Luca Bloom.
This song is indeed a little prayer, my own little prayer for Tibet, for the people of Tibet, and especially for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. It has a lovely little refrain. I hope you will consider singing it with me. At the beginning of the song, after every verse, and at the end, 4 times, as I waved goodbye. Da 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 da. There's an ancient place, it's a city of grace, where I lived as in a dream, where the elders prayed and the children played by the mountainside and stream. As I waved goodbye from the riverside, it was too much to take in. I could see the place and imagine the face of the young Tibetan God King. Da 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 da. It's a bad old wind, should no good begin from a heart that has been done. When the line was crossed and the land was lost, oh, the holy exiled ones. As I waved goodbye from the riverside, it was too much to take in. I could see the place and imagine the face of the young Tibetan God King. Da 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 da. Hear the cry of the geese that fly between the mountain and the moon, and the flags that blow in Himalayan snow are carried like a haunting tune. As I waved goodbye from the riverside, it was too much to take in. I could see the place and imagine the face of the young Tibetan God King. As I waved goodbye from the riverside, it was too much to take in. I could see the place and imagine the face of the young Tibetan God King. Thank you very much.
Don't go anywhere. We want to have a chat to you. The Dalai Lama is still in transit, and it's been a very, very busy day for him. But just step forward, Luca. I wanted you to tell us a little bit about why you wrote that song. It was an absolutely beautiful song and beautifully put with the images. But what moved you to write it?
I think as an Irish person, we have a lot of history and experience of emigration, of people being exiled and having to leave their homes. And I wanted to write a very simple song in honour of this incredible journey that His Holiness and His people have had to make in having to leave their homeland in such sad circumstances. I feel as though, we express ourselves through songs and through poetry, and we had a great desire to sing something for His Holiness and for the Tibetan people. And it's an honour for me to do so.
Thank you so much, Luca. And thank you for joining us. Luca Bloom and Connor, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the man we've all come here today to see and to hear is, of course, no stranger to any of us. Since winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989, he has travelled across 60 nations, across 6 continents, spreading his word and the message of peace, compassion and non-violence. The Dalai Lama's image, his smile, his laughter and his voice have become potent symbols for all of us, rich with encouragement and inspiration. He needs no further introduction. Please welcome His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Thank you. Thank you.
Dear brothers and sisters, I'm extremely happy having one, so to say, public meeting. I'm very happy. Although quite, I think, too busy. So some portion of my energy already exhausted. I think you not get lunch, so empty stomach. Me too. Of course, lunch really was the joyful sort of lunch with the parliamentarian member, but most of the time talk. So the lunch not complete. So I always keen interest meeting with the public. That I consider most important part, sort of my engagement, because my main commitment or interest is to bring happy family, happy community. And usually, you see, people have the sort of, I think, wrong impression. If you have money, or sometimes power, then you get the real happiness. That's a mistake. Of course, money important. However, money not sort of ultimate source of our happiness. That's very clear. I notice there's some very rich family. As far as their money is concerned, very, very rich. But still, as a person, very unhappy person, I notice. Always take some tranquilizer or some sort of say, sleeping pill like that. So therefore, it sort of clearly sort of demonstrated money, richness alone will no guarantee bring happiness. So I think the whole world, government level, or I think every society level or family level, Now we have some kind of sort of habit. Economy, money is the most sort of important sort of matter for our life. That's a mistake. When I listen, of course, every day I listen BBC. Most part they talk money, economy. So therefore, it is important make known in order to achieve happy life. Ultimately, the source of happiness is within ourselves. And then source, anger, jealousy, fear, these are mind or emotion actually bring more sort of unrest, more worry, more disturbances. Then more or less same sort of category of emotion, love, compassion, forgiveness. These things are really very, very helpful to develop calm mind. However, some people feel the subjects such as compassion, love, forgiveness, these things they consider that's a religious practice. So those people who have not much interest, not much serious interest about religion, they also neglect about these values. So that's a mistake. Whether individual believes religion or not, that's up to individual. Not necessary. In order to become a happy person, it's not necessary to be a religious person. I notice a number of people who have not much interest about religion, and some even critical about religion, but there are people who really very calm mind. And among the scientists, they usually is not much interest about religion. There's something different sort of field. So many scientists, you see, remain distant from religion. But among these people, some are really wonderful, wonderful person. So therefore, in order to be calm person, compassionate person, it is not compulsory to be a religious believer. So then, another sort of factor, people usually feel, as a result of practice of compassion, good for other, not necessarily good for practitioner himself or herself. That also a mistake. I think as a result of benefit from practice of compassion, first go to oneself, not other. When our action comes out of compassion, then it is related with other. But the motivation level, compassion here, not a benefit to other. But immediately, to oneself, more compassionate sort of mind, develop, inner peace automatically come. When we have genuine sense of well-being of other, you see, that automatically develop some kind of self-confidence. The sense of caring of other come voluntarily. So the very basis of that volunteer sort of development, volunteer sort of feeling, you have self-confidence. If a person who constantly remains in fear very much sense of insecurity, difficult, almost impossible to develop sense of compassion, sense of concern of others' well-being. So the very nature, the system of the compassion brings inner self-confidence, inner strength. That automatically reduces fear. Then also, you see, that develop different attitude towards other human being, even animal. So since your own attitude towards other becoming more open, more sort of compassionate attitude, then they also get some benefit. But first, the benefit go to oneself. So therefore, the subject, compassion, affection, these are very important sort of internal sort of quality or values. Then the next question, what kind of compassion? There are two levels of compassion. One level, biological factor. That biological factor of compassion essentially very much related with attachment. And also that compassion, biological factor of compassion, is oriented about others' attitude, others' action. So therefore, the compassionate biological factor of compassion can develop or can develop towards your friend who is nice to you, whose attitude towards you is nice. So that's because the attachment and oriented others' attitude. That actually biased compassion and very much oriented about others' attitude. So that compassion, not sound basis, entirely depend on others' attitude. Therefore, the others' attitude slightly change, and your attitude completely change. Today, your compassionate, your sort of close friend, you feel some sense of concern. Due to some small change, next day, that same person could be your enemy. Too much hatred, too much sort of, resentment. Because it depends on the other's attitude. Then another sort of compassion, another level of compassion. That's through training, not a biological factor. However, that sort of compassion, the second level of compassion, through training, the seed must be the biological factors of compassion. That as a seed. I think those animals who have not that potential, I think like many occasions I mentioned, like some turtle, the mother laid down her eggs and then left. They never meet. And then those youngsters of the turtle, as soon as they hatch, they each sort of young turtle have to fight their own survival. No one taking care. So that kind of nature, sort of biological factor, I don't think they have the capacity to show affection. Maybe mate season, maybe. Otherwise, I don't think the mother turtle and her youngster, if put together, I don't think the both sides have the ability to show affection. Because the nature is such, no need they care from their mother. So mother side, no biological factor to bring sort of, the special energy to take care. The source of bringing that energy is affection. So therefore, we have the sort of ability. So such animal, I don't think, suppose, they're training them about affection, I don't think they have the ability. Now we human beings, like dogs and cats and many birds, our survival at the early sort of age, our survival entirely depends on mother's care. So biologically, as soon as we're born, we don't know who is that person, but simply biological factor, we totally relying on that person. And the mother side also is a biological factor. You see, to consider one's own child almost part of her own life, her own body, like that. So really taking every care and willing to sacrifice her sort of comfort. So that's the seed of the compassion. So that, on that basis, now utilize human intelligence and through training, through awareness, that kind of sort of compassionate attitude is something extremely sort of useful and good. Then that conviction and make further effort, then that compassion, limited compassion, very much sort of mixed with attachment, then can transform the second level of compassion. That's unbiased, not related with, not related with, attachment. So, now differences, biological factor of compassion, as I mentioned earlier, oriented others' attitude. And then through training, the second level of compassion, not oriented the person, not oriented others' attitude, but person themselves. So no matter what their attitude towards you, even hostile attitude, doesn't matter. Still, that person is human being and want happiness, have the right to overcome suffering. So, on that understanding, you can develop genuine sense of concern of well-being of them. That's unbiased compassion. Genuine compassion. Through training, you can develop that. So therefore, the compassion, real meaning of compassion, there are two levels. One, much sort of mixed with attachment and a biological factor. And that seed, with help of awareness, it can further develop. That is genuine compassion. That also, without such religion, we can develop that. So therefore, my main sort of the interest, talk with public these things. So therefore, I'm very happy having this opportunity, and I would like to thank the concerned people who organized this event. I'm very happy. So that's my main one of my main sort of commitment. The second commitment, promotion of religious harmony. This morning, we already have some interfaith meeting there. So I really enjoy that meeting and had opportunity to mention the importance of harmony among different religious traditions on the basis of mutual respect, mutual admiration. That also is very possible. All major religious traditions. In philosophical aspect, big differences. Now, for example, I think, strictly speaking, according the English word religion, then we Buddhist, Buddhism is not religion. Buddhism is science of mind. So simply, you see, the fuller knowledge about the system of the mind, emotion, then accordingly training. So that's Buddhism. No central rule of faith towards Buddha. Of course, faith towards Buddha, but we consider Buddha as our teacher, not creator. So then, the English word religion, of course, I do not know the real sort of the precise meaning. But those are the people who, I mean, even Englishmen who knows English is very well, according to them, they say Buddhism is not religion. So, Buddhism, from their viewpoint, a non-believer. But other sort of materialist people, materialistic, sort of radical materialist, then they consider Buddhism also a kind of religion. And some people say even Buddhism, since Buddhism also some kind of religion, so Buddhism is poison. When I was in China, 1954, and beginning 55, I was in Peking. I had several occasions meeting with Chairman Mao, and practically all leaders at that time. I very much attracted the Marxism and socialism. So at that time, I asked on concern with the Chinese official, I want to join Chinese Communist Party. What do you think? My Vietnamese sort of the friend, spiritual friend, I know many years. So just I asking him. He also come from Vietnam, so Vietnam also communist country. So still, as far as socio-economy theory is concerned, I'm Marxist, still. But I'm not Leninist. I totally against, you see, Leninism and Stalin, of course. And Chairman Mao, early part, I think Chairman Mao, I think totally sort of dedicated people. I think really great sort of revolutionary leader. But then around 1955, 56, then power spoiled him. So not only spoiled him, but also whole party spoiled. Now today, Chinese Communist Party, I usually describe a communist party without a communist ideology. Capitalist communist. It is quite amusing. Amusing. So at that time, initial early period of meeting, the one time Chairman Mao praised Buddha. Buddha Shakyamuni was revolutionary minded. Then my last meeting with Chairman Mao, then Chairman Mao told me, your mind your thinking is very scientific thinking. He praised me, and then he told me religion is poison. It is quite understandable. The Chairman Mao's eye say, what is religion? Simply those religious institutions who exploiting money or power. So that kind of institution, religious institution, are actually not religion. They actually simply, you see, they use religion as in their way of earning and use various methods, exploitation, cheating, like that. Some people, some religious people show, because they pretend very holy, and their main aim is collect money and sometimes sex. It really happened like that in Europe, in America, in China, in Taiwan also, like that. So these are not religious, genuine religious practitioners. So naturally, when we saw such things, then sort of negative attitude towards religion automatically come. So Chairman Mao sort of criticism about religion, I think on that basis. So therefore, in any way, so some people used to consider religion is poison, but actually nowadays, quite a number of scientists really showing genuine interest about Buddhism. Because in Buddhism, Buddhist literature, a lot of explanation about emotion, about mind, and the whole system of the emotions. Then knowing that whole system, then they tackle these destructive emotion, reduce, constructive emotion, strengthening. So just a prayer, just a meditation will not sort of much effect. So real effect come through knowing the whole system of emotion. Emotion world is a very vast sort of space. So fuller knowledge about their system, then tackle is really effective. So that's Buddhist tradition. So in any way, besides that philosophical field, I mean differences in philosophical field, all major religion tradition, you see, teach us or advise us, be sensible person, compassionate person, contented person, and a person with discipline. And when we get some problem, we should practice forgiveness. So all these love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, contentment, self-discipline, and justice, all major religion tradition talk same way. So that's the important. The different philosophical view is different way of approach. The goal is same. I am Buddhist. Sometimes I describe I am staunch Buddhist. Reason, the Buddhist masters, you see, in their writing, you see, comparative study about Buddhism and ancient non-Buddhist traditions, all different school of thought of non-Buddhist tradition, make comparison. Then point out contradictions in these different philosophical field. I study these things. So I know from Buddhist perspective, you see these religious traditions, the philosophical field, a lot of contradiction. Knowing that, but I see all carry the same message and really give immense inspiration to millions of people, not only in the past, but even today, and the future also. So I really We say respect, not only respect, admire, appreciation. Now, for example, Christianity. It is very clear. Whole world, Christian brothers, sisters, made greatest contribution regarding education. And whether in Africa, whether in Latin America, or Europe, or Asia, and everywhere. In India, some remote area where Tibetan settlers there, Tibetan settlement there, we can find some missionary school or hospital. The facility, their comfort is concerned, facility very poor, difficult, but they totally dedicated serving to those tribes or poor villages. Wonderful. And then Mother Teresa and her follower, such sort of dedicated people, their strength come from Christian belief. So wonderful. Frankly speaking, we Buddhist monks, nuns, much less sort of activities in the field of education, these things, isn't it? Like that. So, there's sufficient reason to respect and admire. So, religious harmony is very important and very possible to promote that. So number 2 commitment, my commitment like that. So these things, promotion of human value, promotion of religious harmony, individual people should take initiative. So ultimately these things, from government regulation, you can do this, cannot do this. So only individual human being start. Firstly, you develop mutual respect to all religions. Mutual respect to all religions. Then they cultivate yourself more compassionate feeling here through awareness. Then share with your family member, your friends. Through that way, few families, then the community. That's the way. So therefore, I always interest or eager to meet people. So now today, from 2:30, 3:30, 1 hour. So keep, or I think among the audience, those people who have some sort of serious sort of what's today interest about these points which I mentioned, and then you yourself further investigate. Then you eventually get more conviction, and conviction bring effort bring result. Then those people who have not much interest these points, then forget it. No problem. I'm leaving tomorrow, Brisbane. So your problem have to solve by yourself. So I think nearly 7 billion human beings on this planet, except those very, very infants. Otherwise, you see, all human beings have some kind of problems always there. So if you pray, now no longer any problem, that is impossible. Will never materialize. Some problem, always there. External problems, internal problems, always remain there. Now what we can do is try to develop different sort of mental attitude. You may, we can say that your own mental attitude becoming more wiser, more open mind, more holistic view, then many problems appears much easier to handle. When your mind narrow and a little bit sort of today focusing, but just one, then usually these problems appears as a absolute independent. For example, when we face some enemy, troublemaker, then it appears 100% negative, absolute. So according some scientists, the negativeness appears as 90% of that negativeness is our own mental projection. Because, you see, it appears absolute, independent. Then we grasping that as a true. So that exaggerated our mind. So many problems, our own creation. That's very clear. Then also on the planet, a lot of problems, essentially our own creation. Meantime, nobody wants a problem. Then why? We ourselves create a lot of problems. Ignorance. Unrealistic approach due to lack of knowledge about the reality. Because our mind look these things not holistic way, but sort of narrow way. So we can't see the reality. So without knowing the reality, then whole our approach become unrealistic. So that's the causes of problem. So therefore, if we develop more wise or more holistic, then your sort of way handle these problems becoming much more effective. So that's about my talk. Now some questions. You have questions? Huh?
Your Holiness, we do have some questions. We have some questions from the audience, and I'll ask our helpers to get those people into the aisle straight away so we can pursue the questions. First up, I would like to ask you, you've spoken today about compassion. What is your view of the state of humanity, the state we're in? Are we becoming, as a world, more compassionate or less compassionate? More caring, less caring?
Generally, I think in 20th century seems to see many positive change within 100 years. Obviously, number one, in early part of 20th century, First World War, Second World War, during this period, when nation declare war on your enemy, actually your neighbor. At that time, every citizen of that concerned nation, without slightest question, joined proudly about war effort. That kind of situation completely changed in later part of 20th century. Now when nation declare war, many citizens of that nation ask questions, why? For example, before Iraq crisis, how many people oppose violence? And then very concept of peace, much stronger later part of 20th century. I think in early part of 20th century, people take for granted war is some part of our history, part of our life, in order to gain your nation, sometimes necessary to destroy your enemy. That later part, that changed. And then early part, the totalitarian system, powerful leader, powerful government can change the society that failed within the same century. And with that belief, the Soviet Union changed, not by external force, but by their own people. And also dictator once in the Philippines changed by popular peaceful movement. And also in Chile, it's a popular movement, you see, change. This, big change. So therefore, and then I think, and also ecology problem. Early part of 20th century, nobody pay attention about, even do not know, right? Even know, right? Do not know the importance of ecology. Now later part of 20th century, and nowadays, it's everywhere. People really concerned about ecology. So these are positive things. Then I think science and spirituality. In early part, people feel simply two different things. Now later part of the 20th century, the science and spirituality now come closer. These are positive change. And I think sense of caring also I think increasing as a result of more contact, wider contact, and awareness, suffering of others. I think this 1996, I had audience the Queen Mother of England. Then her age also 96th birthday. So when I had the meeting, I asked her, since she observed whole century, the 20th century. So I asked her, since you observed the whole century, almost whole century, so world become better or same or worse? Without hesitation, her answer is better. Reason, when she was young, nobody talked about human right or right of self-determination. Nowadays, human right and right of self-determination, these become universal, she told me. So that's, the essence is taking care of others' sort of right. Clear. So therefore, I think the world becoming better. And at least the mobilized sort of big sort of military organization, that is Warsaw Pact and the NATO Pact, these also gone. Of course now, new sort of, because of the situation, terrorist, that also quite troublesome and invisible, quite sort of complicated sort of thing to engage, to combat these things. But overall, world much safer. Then, like United States, they begin to talk the free world without nuclear weapon. These also now more and more talks. Very healthy sign. That's my view.
I think we can take great heart from that. It's wonderful to hear. We will take a question from over here, but Your Holiness, just before we take this question, one of the Aboriginal elders from this land we're meeting on, the Ngunnawal land, has asked to come and do a special welcome to you, a welcome to country. So I'm going to ask Matilda House to come forward now and give you a special welcome to country.
Your Holiness, at last I might be with you.
Indigenous people, isn't it?
From
the local.
I am the traditional people. Thank you. I have my granddaughter for you to bless. I welcome you here today to this beautiful land of my ancestors with this lovely man that has been given us so much, not only to us but to the whole world. And I thank him. He's laughing at me. I thank you all for being here to share this beautiful, beautiful time with His Holiness. A wonderful man. He's still laughing at me.
Then perhaps wonderful woman.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful mother.
I'm a mother. I have 4 children, 12 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. And I'm just about to introduce you to bless my other grandchild, Michaela.
Hello.
Michaela, here she comes.
Now today I
Here
met.
she comes.
Today I met the first sort of parliament member from the indigenous people. Oh, I met.
Yeah.
I extend my congratulations. That's very important.
It is.
The
And
local people.
so I was waiting, but I knew that you wouldn't forget me. Darren, this is Michaela.
Oh, okay. Beautiful.
LA?
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
So thank you and wish you well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Where will I sit?
Oh.
Over here?
Yes, yes. Oh, yes.
Thank you
Please.
very much to Matilda House for the special welcome to country.
My sort of curiosity. One young one, maybe? No. Now, last few days, you see number of sort of female. So no. Some you see with sort of this kind of sort of stomach. Then they asked me blessing for their unborn child. So I thought good.
Oh, this man.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Can we take just one question from the audience? We have one over here. If you'd stand up and just clearly tell us your name and your question.
My name's Robert. Firstly, Your Holiness, I'd like to thank you for a truly inspiring address. My question is, if individuals or communities are threatened with violence, is the use of force to protect others ever acceptable? And can such interventions be executed with love and forgiveness towards the aggressor?
The question being, is the use of force ever acceptable if individuals are under attack? Is the use of force ever acceptable?
Yes, now, you have to know the real true meaning of forgiveness, tolerance. Forgiveness, tolerance does not mean you bow down, or accepted what others wrongdoing. No. Or forgiveness, forget about their wrongdoing. No. If you forget others' wrongdoing, then no basis of forgiveness. So now here, as I mentioned earlier, action, actor, attitude, and the person who creates certain attitude. So as I mentioned earlier, you see the genuine compassion towards the actor not depend on action, regardless what their attitude, regardless what their action. Still the person is person. Even enemy, your enemy, action is negative. But doesn't matter what their action, what their attitude, but still they are human beings. So therefore, we can extend our love, compassion towards your enemy. Now here, you see, we make distinction, action and actor. So now forgiveness here. We forgive the actor, but not action, not towards action. As far as action is concerned, if the circumstance is such, we need, such that if we do not take, the counter sort of measure, eventually spoil that person. So he or she carry further sort of wrongdoing. So in order to stop their sort of wrongdoing, you have to take countermeasure, appropriate measure. So there is no contradiction, practice of tolerance or forgiveness, and take countermeasure to stop their wrongdoing. Clear? This, good point, Marve.
Okay.
Like I think our own case, we Tibetan, we never keep ill feeling towards our Chinese brothers sisters, particularly those officials who really carry decision on the spot to torture, to murder. We never sort of develop, because of that, we never encourage to develop anger, hatred. Meantime, we totally oppose their action. Clear, like that.
A wonderful, wonderful answer. Thank you for that question. We have another one at the back here. If you can just stand up clearly and give us your name and your question into the microphone.
Hello, Your Holiness. My name is Daniel and I am 10 years old. I am interested in becoming a Buddhist. What are the steps involved in this?
Thank you, Daniel. Daniel is 10 years old. He's interested in becoming a Buddhist, and Daniel wants to know what are the steps involved in becoming a Buddhist.
I always mention or telling Buddhist community, whether Tibetan, Chinese, or Vietnamese, Korean, Japanese, and also the Sri Lanka or Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, like that. I usually used to telling them, we should be 21st century Buddhist. That means, in the past, like other tradition, number of people who claim themselves as a Buddhist, but without knowing what is Buddhism. So, it is not sort of proper. We should have fuller knowledge about Buddhism. Buddhist faith should come later. First, your own sort of keep some kind of skepticism, and then open mind and study more about Buddhist system. Then eventually you find some sort of convincing sort of ideas or useful ideas, and start implement. Then if you feel very useful, and you develop full conviction, then you consider as a Buddhist. So that's important. So that can be, 21st century Buddhist. And also knowing modern science, modernity, and meantime, unshakable sort of faith towards Buddha's teaching. through sort of awareness, reasoning, through understanding the way of approach, then accept faith, Buddhist faith. That's my advice. So you are 10 years old, so next at least 5 to 10 years, study more. Then you fully convince. Then you follow Buddhist or Buddhist path.
There you are, Daniel. You've got a lot of study ahead of you. Thank you very much for that question. We have another question just down here. And again, if you can just speak clearly and state your name.
Hi, Dalai Lama. I'm 10 years old and I'm Sonora. And I want to know if you've ever had a pet and what was its name.
What is your name? What is your name?
Sonora.
Sonora. He has asked you, Your Holiness, have you ever had a pet? And if you did have a pet, what was its name?
Pet. No. Yes, when I was in Tibet, I had one dog, and the 17th night, March 1959, when I escaped, that pet left. Quite sad. Then, after I reached India, and a few cases, sometimes some dogs, one dog. Then now these days, I had one cat, a very nice one, very, very nice. I noticed it is easier discipline the dog. Cat, more difficult, more independent mind, isn't it? When they feel hungry, they run after you, here and there. Then they fat, then forget. But dog, not like that. Even you see, the resting, when we saw, it's sort of tail, they were like that. Yes.
Thank you very much for that question. That was a beautiful question. So now we know cats and dogs. We have another question, Your Holiness, at the back up here. And again, if you can just speak clearly and state your name.
Hello. Oh, can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Beverly. My question was regarding animosity towards people that are cruel to animals. I'm heavily involved in dog rescue. And it's very hard to have forgiveness for people that are so cruel. Can you help me with that?
Beverly, could you just state your question clearly in a sentence?
How do I find forgiveness for people that are cruel to animals?
How do we find forgiveness to people who are cruel to animals? A lot of animal talk this afternoon. How do we find forgiveness for those who are cruel to animals?
Yes, I found some organization, some individual really fight for animal right. That's very good. So those people who very much so cruel, including sort of some labs, in the labs, some animal. You see, they carry experiment on animal. So some organization, so very much concerned about these animals. So one time in New York, Atlanta, I think, Atlanta or somewhere, say, I had one sort of invitation to visit one university. And some people wrote a letter to me, you should not go there because there are too much sort of experiment on animal, like that. So such things you see now there, that's very good, very good. So I think firstly, we have to educate these people. I think the wrong thing is, nowadays in India, also you see, we notice the chickens selling selling chicken just beside vegetable. So these people used to consider this chicken like vegetable. So the lack of sense of their experiences, their pains. So it is quite terrible. So therefore, I think you are sort of thinking, you are concerned about animals. You're very right. You see, you have to educate more people. So that also they very much related with the sense of sort of caring of other. That develop on the basis of recognition, their feeling of pain. Our own case, pain, experiencing pain, and we always have desire to overcome that. So other animals also say. So that's very right.
Thank you.
So I think it is really worthwhile promote vegetarianism. It is important.
Vegetarianism, a good answer there, and education. Your Holiness, we have one more question just over here, and again, if you can just speak clearly and state your name.
Hello, Your Holiness. My name is Peter. My question is, when life is hard and it just seems like one bad thing after another is happening, how do you maintain a state of compassion and contentment?
Peter was asking, when life is hard and it seems like one bad thing after another is happening, how do you maintain your compassion?
Actually, the very purpose of practice of compassion is to strengthening our inner self. So then, once the more stronger inner self, much easier to face this problem. Of course, it takes considerable long time, and like sort of immune system, the body's immune system is strong. Then even sort of serious sort of virus will not disturb much. If your basic body weak, then slightest sort of virus increase serious infection. Similarly, mental state calm, then some difficulties happen much easier to deal. When your mind weak, always agitated mind and sense of insecurity and anger, then very difficult facing the sort of difficulties. So the training, then so therefore those people who already have some inner strength, as a result of familiarize these things, then much easier. But one beginner, not much experience about that, then meantime facing some lot of problem, then yes, very clear, lot of difficulties and difficult to control, difficult to handle that situation. Now here, I think one simple, realistic sort of advice is the 8th century's one Buddhist master mentioned, when we face some problem, then analyze the problem. If the problem is such you can overcome, there is possibility to overcome that suffering, that problem, then no need worry make more effort. If the problem, no way to overcome, then no use too much sort of worry. In any way, you cannot avoid that. So that's very realistic sort of approach. Usually, you see, when we face some problem, we a little bit exaggerate that problem. So then create much sort of worry, anger, like that. And then eventually ruin self. Too much frustration, too much anger. You lose sleep, you lose digestion. Then eventually lose your sleep and lose your health. So knowing that, in spite of some difficulties, you have to think, now too much worry is no use, no help. So better to keep your inner strength and because of the handle, facing that problem. Like that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for that wonderful question. We also have a question from Rebecca. Rebecca, if you are here, just pop your hand up. And if we can't see you, I might ask the question on your behalf. Oh, Rebecca is right here. Just grab the microphone. If you can ask your question clearly and slowly. Thank you.
I've read that some traditions believe that women cannot become enlightened, so I was just wondering what your view was of this.
Rebecca is asking, is it possible for women to become enlightened in the female form, or do they need to be reincarnated as males? Can women become enlightened?
In Vivasek school of thought, it mentioned in beginner, no differences. Like bhikshu gives same opportunity, bhikshu, bhikshuni, highest ordination, male and female. So we can start, no differences. Then later part, Chanamaranji, Changsam Mene.
A ripening effect where there is a definite result of the Bodhisattva path. A ripening effect where there is a definite result of the Bodhisattva path.
Then about 100 eons, male body, it mentioned. But then in Sanskrit tradition, or the Madhyamaka philosophy, and particularly in Tantric tradition, no differences. Now, for example, goddess Tara, when she made first pledge to become Buddha, since then, all her life, female. So sometimes I describe goddess Tara is the feminist, I think, ancient feminist, like that. So it is okay, no problem.
So there's hope for us. There's hope for us. Your Holiness.
And in fact, these days I am sort of expressing on my sort of public talk, many cases in France or in America, in India, many cases I sort of expressing firstly, when we human being at the very early period, no concept of leadership. All people work together. And whatever they get, share equally. Then population a little bit increase, and the possession also increase. Then still fighting these, cheating, these things happen. So then concept of leadership comes. So then there is still no rule of education. So in order to become leadership, only physical sort of strength. So male dominance come through that way. Then eventually education education develop. Then the brain smart is more important. Intelligence more important in order to become leader. So in modern time, the female leadership, president or prime minister, now more and more females will come. Still male dominance still there. Then the main point is, now today, as far as education is concerned, generally speaking, quite adequate. But we really need more effort, promotion of human compassion, affection. In that respect, biologically, female have more sensitivity about others' pain. According to scientists, one male, one female observe someone passing through painful experience. The response from these two, the female's response, much stronger. So biologically, the female, you see, taking care, children, several years, even animal, birds. Sometimes father enjoy, then disappear. But in some cases, you see, birds, the couple remain till their youngster become independent. Some birds, even whole life, remain together. Dogs are quite independent, and cat as well. So then human being, you see, so all cases, mother really take the full care of their youngster. I had one sort of story. One time I flight, I think from Japan to San Francisco or some other sort of area, night flight. So at the beginning, one couple, so two children. One, I think 6, maybe 5, 6 years old, quite manageable. One, much smaller, always crying. Then at the initial or the early part of long flight, both parents taking care, the two children, especially the younger one. Then about midnight, father just slept. The mother still take care till next morning when we reach the destination. Then I noticed mother's eye become very red because no sleep. So that shows mother have more commitment taking care about the children. Father, at the beginning, yes, equal, but then gradually exhausted. That sort of, the energy. So therefore, that's the biological factor. Female have more sort of sensitivity about others' sort of, pain. Therefore, recent years, I'm expressing now at the time we need more effort for promotion of affection, women should take more significant role in that respect. That I really feel.
That was a wonderful answer. Are we done? Thank you. Unfortunately, we are going to have to call an end to today's discussion and questions because we have gone very much over time. I'm going to call Luca Bloom back to the stage for his final piece, but it is time now for us to say goodbye to Your Holiness, and thank you so much for coming to Canberra and spending time with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. अच्छा खदा से कॉल Okay. Jada. Thank you. 네 라드 싱해도 돼. 커다. 저는 너무 당해 들리지. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, let me.
He hasn't had his lunch.
Oh, delicious. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, please give him a very warm thank you very much.
What is that? Thank you very much. Where is that boy?
Where is that small boy?
Where? Oh, already gone. Oh, okay.
The small boy who came here just now. Where is he?
Where is that boy?
He's coming.
Who bring this?
Here he comes, running back down again. It's our little questioner, Daniel.
Oh, there.
Sweet.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Once more. Thank you. So, thank you. Good night.
One of the many beautiful subjects His Holiness spoke about today was the subject of forgiveness. I'd like to sing you a little song I wrote on the subject of forgiveness. I sang it for His Holiness in Ireland some years ago, and I'm very honoured to sing it for you now. It's called Miracle Cure. When all the fighting is done, forgiveness. When all the blood has run, forgiveness. The opening fist brings forgiveness. A wounded hand to kiss. Forgiveness It's the wonder drug. It's the miracle cure. It could change our world, make our lives secure. And I take my chance at each abyss and reach for my forgiveness. The moment the words cut in, forgiveness. The moment anger begins, forgiveness. In the light of a new day, forgiveness. I hope you'll have your say. Forgiveness. Together we grow. Together we know. No losers, no winners in forgiveness. Together we're free. Together we see no right or no wrong in forgiveness. It's the wonder drug. It's the miracle cure. It could change our world, make our lives secure. And I take my chance at each abyss and reach for my forgiveness. Thank you very much.
Chanju Simcho Rinpoche Ke Panama ke Guruji Kya paraynya